Can you do a skill guide for Dragon Age the Veilguard? Yeah, I could do that. As a matter of fact, let's talk not just about your skills, but also your companion skills and everything you need to know about refunding your skills, respecking, changing things on the fly, working with your different companions, the synergies between companions, and how everything works and comes together in this game. If you've never played a Dragon Age game before, don't worry about it. That's what this guide is for. This is the beginner version. Now, there is a meta to this if you want to go whole hog, but we're not going to be diving into the advanced meta side of things here quite yet. That guide will be coming later on down the pipeline, so make sure to stay tuned for that. In the meantime, this is the main game being played on YouTube and Twitch every single day at 9 a.m. Central, so hopefully we'll see you in the next stream. There's a lot of videos on the channel, though. I've got about 7,000 videos as of this recording. I play a lot of games. This is the day job. We're going to be going into Stalker 2 after this, and then Indiana Jones and the Great Circle, followed by the Path of Exile 2 early access just for the rest of this year, and then 2025 we've got a jam-packed schedule. So let's dive in. The first thing you need to understand is that every single archetype in this game, whether it's the warrior, the rogue, or the mage, has a skill tree that looks like this. You have your core abilities, which are represented by this central core here, and then you have 3 specializations. So don't get too hung up on the fact that I'm on my rogue right now, because this looks the same for every single class that you're going to be playing in the game. So your core abilities are the ones that start off right here in the center. In this case, I am a rogue core. So we would go into this and we could take a look at the rogue core. Everything starts from the center here, and you have the ability to go in any direction that you want. You're going to be starting off with a couple of abilities here. Usually you'll have your initial starter ability followed by some sort of initial ultimate ability. And then as you level up, you'll be earning skill points that you can spend where you see fit. In addition, you will be able to complete puzzles in the game and find alternative ways to earn skill points if you want to go the completionist journey. So I would highly recommend that if you really want to get the most out of this, don't be afraid to dive deep into the game, because you will be able to maximize your potential for the most amount of abilities possible. At any given time, if you don't like how something works, you can go over here and click this refund points button, which allows you to then take everything back down to the core here and then respec things as you see fit. It is important to understand that you can take any ability in this whole thing. However, the line that you see here, that blue-white line that goes zigzagging all over the place, the way this works is that everything is based on taking something that connects to something before it. So I cannot just go nilly-willy, pick something over here. I would need to pick something that is connected to something I've already chosen. And you have to have available skill points to do so. So if you see something that's way over here that you think you're going to want to acquire, you're going to have to work your way over there however you see fit, until eventually you get to the ability that you want. So in a lot of cases, if you're someone who is unsure of how you want to do something and you want to really just sink your teeth into this, you can kind of look at all of the abilities in these different areas, pick the ones that you like, and then sort of work your way back from there and say, okay, what do I need to take along the way, map it out, and go from there. That's one way of doing things. Every core is surrounded by these different in this case, I have these ones called Sustain, we have Lord of Fortune, we have Control, we have Veil Jumper, we have Burst, and we have Antivan Crow. These are just names for the various sub-cores that go out from the central core, and eventually you lead to the Specialization, which you can take at level 20. Again, all of the classes work like this. Don't get too hung up on the names here, because this is just a visual representation for all of the different classes. This is how they all work. So what I did when I started looking at the game, I said, okay, what does each one of these things do? So as an example, this one is focused on traps. This one was, bow abilities. This one was more bow, heavily focused on the bow and headshots. This one was like high damage weapon attacks, heavy impact abilities. This one was like melee attacks and parrying, as well as momentum and finishing. And then the sustain, which is counter attacks, defensive abilities, damage bonuses, and effect duration. So for my playstyle, this is what everyone should be looking at: is which one of these 6 abilities around the core, or 6 trees around the core, which one of these skill trees represents the playstyle that you think is going to fit what you're looking to get out of your class. And it's important to understand that whatever way you decide to go, at some point you need to be thinking about what is the specialization that you want to get to, because you do have to get to level 20 before you get to a specialization, but you must have a skill line that reaches right here at some point, so that you can then take your specialization as soon as you ding level 20. So this does require a little bit of planning and forethought, or if you just want to wing it, you can start what I did. Literally, I started here and I just went straight up and I said, okay, I went from here and I said, what do I like? I don't care about that too much as evasive maneuvers, but I do like the ability to do a riposte. That sounded cool. So I took that, then I went up to here and I picked my powerful rebuttal, and then I just started going up through the center of this, and I worked my way up through the core all the way to the top here, and then I came down and I branched down and I went all the way down to here next, and then I backed out and I filled in these ones right here before then getting into my duelist specialization, unlocked my new ultimate ability, which is related to the specialization, took this, and then from here, this is the next important part to understand. Once you get into your specialization, you're not going to be able to completely max it out right away, because you do unlock this at level 20, but you cannot unlock the next tiers of the specialization until level 30. So each of these, as an example, require level 30. We can go over to the other side and it works the exact same way. The first one unlocks at level 20. You can come in here, but then if you want to get into the sub-specializations, it requires level 30 to unlock. So even if you did get in here, it's going to take you a while, because you'll only be able to spend, so as an example, 21, you get that first one for free. But basically you're going 21, 22, 23, 24, and 25, and then you still need to get 5 more levels before you can put more points into here. So you're going to end up going back out into here and figuring out where you want to put your points for level 25 to 30, because you do have to get to level 30 first. So always be thinking about what is the specialization that you're wanting to aim for, and sort of figure out how you're going to get there through spending the points. But again, if at any point in time you have an ability that you took that you don't like, whether it's an active or a passive. So for example, Pilfer is an active ability, which is a detonator. But then there are things in here like traits, which aren't active abilities. They're just things that you can get, which are like combo abilities. So this is an RT plus LB, which does a shot when I jump back. And then there's other things in here that are passives that don't necessarily have any active components to them, but they give you some sort of a buff, or in this case, I get momentum, perfect dodge, perfect defense. So you can always be looking at these things and figure out ways to enhance your own particular build. Now, this is where we start to get into some of the fun stuff of this game, because if you watch the combat videos that BioWare put out leading up to the game, combat relies around not just the base abilities, your light attacks, and your heavy attacks, but it also relies upon combo moves. If you've played any of the Mass Effect games before this, or Anthem, for example, you'll be familiar with the combo system that BioWare has put into their more recent games, and it's on full display here. By the way, something I didn't mention when I was going through here is every single one of these active abilities and traits has a cool animation which shows you what they do. Not the passives don't, but the active abilities do. So they show you what they do, as well as explaining what they do. And there's always the detail button, which gives you more information on the things that they apply as well, like electrical damage or stagger and so on and so forth. So there's a lot to understand here. Stagger is one of the combat effects that can be applied to a mob. Stagger is essentially when you break the mob's defenses down, and they will then be basically put into a state of shock where they're slumped over and they can't do anything. And when that happens, you get a moment, a window of time, a window of opportunity where you can go in and do a special attack, which allows you to take advantage of their weakened state and do some really big damage when they're staggered. So trying to stagger the enemy as much as possible is always going to be a big deal. But there's also things that are very important, like in this case, it says detonates a mob that has been overwhelmed. So overwhelm is what is called a primer. Quick commercial break, everyone, to celebrate and give thanks to all of these amazing people who keep me on the air full time. Really appreciate the support. All you got to do is join as a member. You get access to private videos. You can also do super thanks on any upload or super chats and stickers on any live stream or premiere you see. And beyond that, don't forget we're multi-streaming over on Twitch now, so you can support over there as well. Thanks so much to everybody. Let's get back to the video at hand. And pilfer, in this case, is what's known as a detonator because it's going to detonate an overwhelmed mob. Now, I showed this off in the Ultimate Beginner's Guide to Combat, so if you really want to get into how all of that stuff works, you can check out that guide as well. But essentially what you're looking for is this right here is what's known as a primer. This ability right here, it applies the weakened state. There are various types of states that you can apply to a mob, various types of primers. You can apply a weakened state, you can apply an overwhelmed state, you can apply a sundered state as an example, and then different abilities will then detonate off of those abilities. Now, this is where things get really, really fun, because when you're doing combos in combat, you're not just worried about your abilities, you're also worried about the abilities of your companions. And let's just go ahead and look at the two companions that I use the most, which are Nev and Davrin. But let's look at Nev first so we can go into her abilities. This is the exact same thing as your abilities. The difference here is that, and these, by the way, can be respec'd at any point in time. The difference here is that whereas you earn your abilities by leveling up and getting skill points, you earn the abilities for your companions by earning faction with your companions and earning reputation with them. So by doing side quests, by completing objectives with these characters in your party, you will earn skill points, which you can then spend to spec these characters out as you see fit. Now in this case, remember how I have an ability which applies a weakened state? She has an ability which can detonate off of that. This applies weakened, and then I could do a detonate. Anyway, there's different things. You'll understand when I get this. I get confused about who's who because Davern I have in my party too. Anyway, she can detonate sundered mobs, and she can also apply weakened stuff. So if we go back over here to Davern as an example, we can take a look at his abilities. This one right here is a cool taunt, which he does, but I'm not too worried about that one. It is not that one. It's this one right here, I believe. Yes, this detonates weakened. So I can apply weakened as can Nev. So both of us can apply a weakened state to the mob, and then she can trigger off of that and create a detonation. And detonations are really cool because they essentially put the mob into a state wherein he then detonates, the combo goes off, and the mob is stunned for a little bit. And in some cases, if you look at like how I've got Nev spec'd pretty deep into this line in particular, because this is, well, there's that ability, there's also the Blizzard ability. But this one as a detonation for Sundered, we can go in here and she does various additional components. So like, when it does a crit hit, it freezes the target, and essentially every time you do a detonation, it does a crit hit, and so it freezes the mob in place for a brief moment of time, which is really awesome to hold them in place as you're doing that. So again, not only is it important to understand how your primers and detonators work, it's also important to understand all of the various characters, and remember that they can be respec'd at any point in time. All of the characters also, if you look at their skills, most of them have either a direct heal, um, or in the case of like Davrin, this taunt ability, you can spec it so that when he does a taunt, it replenishes health while the taunt is active. So it's a heal even though it's not a heal. And then there's this really cool thing where it automatically triggers the taunt if you reach low health, as long as it's not currently on cooldown. So that it's like an auto heal. And then also, I believe it's Balara. I've got her set up. Oops, went to the wrong one. Balara I've got her spec'd in the healing line as well. She's got an ability here where it auto triggers her heal when I reach low health. So if you have her in your party, it works quite well. So everybody's got primers and detonators, and it's important when you're looking at your characters to understand how the primers and detonators work, because if you do it right, you can essentially have every character in the party having a primer and detonator that works off the other person in the group, or at least one of the other persons. So in the case with my character, I'm not in a combat scenario right now, but if I were to go into, let's go to the crossroads really quick, and I can give you a better example of what this looks like, just so that you understand. And again, the combat guide that I've got will give you more information on that, so that you can really take a look at that. But let's go to the crossroads, and so you can see what this looks like in real time. I take Davrin and I take Nev, and then we say yes to that party. We're going to go in and I'm going to bring up the combat UI, which will give us a better chance to understand how this is going on. What's up, Smeagol? Kitty cat. So here we are in the crossroads here. Now, here's where we get to see this in real time. So you can see here, I've got an ability called Toxic Dash, which applies Sundered to a mob. Now, over here, she has a detonator that detonates off of Sundered. So I can apply Sundered, and then we can immediately have a combo where she detonates Sundered. In addition, so see how that's linking? I can't link it right now because I don't have enough momentum, but if we link Davrin's, see how it immediately shows the combo right there? It's showing right there on the bottom right. It's the big flashing arrows. What's up, buddy? Yes, I'm recording a video. So this one applies Weakened, and then she can detonate Weakened with Glacial. What's up? He's being needy right now. Anyway, sorry, that's Detonate. This is what I was looking with. Combos with. I was doing it in reverse, but it was telling me that this is comboed with this. So Glacial Pace applies Weakened, and then this combos with Death from Above. So Nev can combo with Davrin, and I can also combo with her with my Toxic Dash, which is great. So in this case, I've got a never-ending circle here where we can all trigger off, and I haven't quite gotten the third one yet to where like she can start. I don't have it yet to where she can start one that I can detonate off of, or that he can detonate off of, but you can get it that way if you want to spec it that way. But I have her with a heal, so it doesn't quite work that way for me personally, because I've chosen to have her with a heal in the background just for additional survival. Smeagol, you're being really annoying as I'm recording a video, buddy. What's up? Anyway, guys, that is the beginner's guide to skills in Dragon Age: The Veilguard. Hopefully you have a better understanding of how the skill system works. And again, if you would like to see all of this in real time, in an actual combat scenario, I'll have the combat video linked below down in the description, so you can go check that out at your leisure. Otherwise, don't forget to check this out and dive deep, respec as you want, and as always, like, subscribe, hit that bell icon so you never miss an update. Daily streams here and on Twitch, and I will see everybody in the next one. Stay safe. Happy gaming, everybody.